Hi. Some days are more somber than others. Sorry I hadn't posted a video in a few days. Yesterday I got kind of ill from overwork. I've actually spent the past nearly 6 hours today working really hard on leather work. Here I have three python, these are the backs that are going to make up the wallet. The backs of some wallets made out of python. The exterior, of course, is made out of python. We're going to talk about some important things in this video. I get asked this question all the time. I actually hold no delusions about either leaving a legacy or being a teacher. However, I've had countless people tell me that I am. I'm actually extremely lucky that I have a mind that works a certain way, but anybody's mind can actually be structured that way. But then, of course, like, well, I don't want to follow that guy. You know, he only does his work 7 days a week, and he never goes anywhere or does anything. I used to skydive every day. Used to do an enormous amount of cave diving, drop O2 decompression tanks for decompressing, and do deep dives, incredibly equipment intensive, and a great deal of training, and thousands of skydives, and permanent creases in my legs from hard openings. But I can actually say I don't think I was ever an adrenaline junkie. That stuff actually gets boring after a while. There's a lot of interesting things happening in the world, and by interesting, I think you know what that means. I've heard some stories from people recently on getting a home. They're young people, and they're paying a 7% interest rate, which is absolutely astronomical. I can safely say, very easily and safely say, that having a sharp mind these days can actually save your life. And not only is that an important statement, if you'd like me to elaborate on it, I'd prefer you yourself to elaborate on it, because I think the answer to that question is extremely obvious. By the way, if you ever want to see how short life is, you should make a chart with little boxes that are meant to represent weeks. Take the average life. I don't know what the average life is today, like 74, 75 years old. I doubt I'll make it to 60, honestly. Partially because I'm out of shape, but I say that stress is a killer, that being the case, and I've already been taken out many times. Anyway, each little box is a week, and you just fill it in after you've lived that week, and man, you'll really see how short life is. I'm actually about to turn, here in about 14 days, about to turn 51 years old. I have no regrets about turning older. I didn't even think I'd make it to 50, to be perfectly honest with you. I know for a fact, and I've always pointed out my failures, the things that I've failed on. Obviously, I sit behind the computer too much. I do a lot of writing, and I don't do a lot of studying anymore. I mean, I do, but, and I'm not trying to brag in saying this, I've actually reached a point of critical mass where I don't have to go searching for the answers to things. So many puzzle pieces have fallen into place that are lucidly clear to me that I don't need to go looking for any answers within the Enneads or, you know, hidden secrets, which I found more than a few within the writings of Plato, which actually were not written by Plato, and some of them are quite old, far, far more ancient than Plato, like the Parmenides and the Timaeus, and part of Plato's Republic. I would call it a critical mass of understanding. If you have to see a certain percentage, what that percentage is, I don't know, and neither do you, but I can see a clear picture on a lot of things in cosmic mechanics. By the way, I just posted a gravity article. It's the simplification of gravity in the community board. I'd like for you to check it out. But whatever legacy, and I hold no delusions about legacy, I'm proud of the fact that I've been able to write many books, an enormous amount of articles, and I still continue to write books and articles. And of course I'm working on the retroduction booklet and the 4th edition on magnetism, of which the notes are well over 5 gigabytes. And so the only difficulty there is, like, how much of it do you put in, and, you know, where do you put it, and align it with everything else. But that's overthinking things a little bit. But I'm glad that I've been able to give them out for free. I hope people, and it seems a lot of people did like the article that I posted last night on gravity, but I'm incredibly proud of the fact that I'm the first human being to fully figure out what magnetism is and how it works and why it works, you know, the how, the what, and the why. And that's really important. And I hold no delusions about, gaining any high status or, gaining any wealth in this life. I mean, that's blatantly obvious. You're not going to take anything with you. The only thing that might be materialistic on my part is that I hope and long for at least to take a real vacation some point in time before I get too old and decrepit. I mean, I might even not even make it to being old and decrepit. You never know. There's a saying that every young person should remember, and it's absolutely true. I love finding out or finding out and creating truisms about life, and one of them definitely is that life is what happens when you're making plans. The other one is that nothing true is popular, and nothing popular is true. The only thing I need is wisdom and a roof over my head, and I'm working on, at least hoping, to take a real vacation. I think possibly that I have the 3 acres of land of mine sold, but I mean there's still paperwork and whatnot going on with the gentleman from another state on that. But bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush. I think that's the case. If so, I might take a week off, but I fight myself on trying to take a week off. But obviously I'm not starving, and obviously I have a roof over my head. I'd like to actually point out some very important aspects of life lessons in this video. And I've heard before, horrible comments. I didn't take life lessons from some fat bald guy, but I know exactly where I've failed at in life. And of course, you only have 2 things in life. It is time and energy. That's the only thing. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are, you have a certain amount of time, a certain amount of energy. And it's your choice and my choice and everybody else's choice to decide how to spend it and where to spend it. And I have firsthand experience on one thing that I definitely have not failed on, and we all have our own ideations of self. And I don't mean that thing necessarily in the mirror when you brush your teeth, but we think we're our belief systems. I mean, so much of human strife and misery comes from disturbances of either real or perceived attacks on what we believe and we think we are our beliefs. Not just that thing in the mirror, in the bathroom, but when you brush your teeth or comb your hair, not that I haven't done that in like 30 years, is that we're so concerned that we are our beliefs, and we spend, people, not me, spend so much time defending them. I mean, if life is 1,000 times easier when you bend yourself to wisdom rather than trying to fight off knowledge, that would change your mind and make you a better person. I keep telling people this and nobody gets it. Nobody teaches this in high school or college. And that is a genuine person that loves wisdom, true love. Of course, there's different types of love, obviously. Is someone that's happy to be proven right because they know they're on the right direction, but they're even more happy to be proven wrong. This is a true person that loves wisdom above all else. Because wisdom is self-proximity. That's closer to divinity. And this means you're on the wrong path. Facts, logic, and wisdom, someone's proven you wrong. They weren't going after you. What they were doing is presenting you with facts, logic, evidences, so on and so forth, a chain of rationality. Say, hey, what you're thinking and believing is wrong, and I'll give you the reasons why. Boom, 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 boom. Certain things are subjective. Someone can't change your mind unless you have a weak mind about what you do or don't like. Like you like chocolate ice cream instead of vanilla, so on and so forth. I mean, these are highly subjective. But, on truisms and things that are a stake in the ground, if you will. In other words, they're unmovable and fixed, and there's no debating subjectivity about them. But a lot of people try to subjectify everything, and of course this is the source for a great deal of misery. Sharp minds can save a lot of people's lives this day, but I went over that just a few minutes ago. I'll edit that out of this video. I know people are having a tough time now, and so am I. I mean, my donations have dropped off like about 95%. I don't let it crush my mind. I mean, the definition of dukkha in the ancient Pali, suffering, there's different types of suffering, of course, is to be disturbed about things we can't have control over. And I know what's going on out there. And by the way, any donation is greatly appreciated. If you appreciate any of the books or articles that I've written, which are always free, any donation, which is in the description below, is very, very greatly appreciated, more so than you would know. I used to title these videos, don't watch this video, and I'm not trying to use some sort of reverse psychology and calling them that, and that's not going to be the title of this video, but I never ever have started out with a premise or ideation that, I'm going to use reverse psychology to get more people to watch this video. I don't work like that, and I never have. By the way, and I've told people this before, mostly in live stream, I spent like 30 years collecting, without any thought of cost, literally, the finest and best books in the world, getting them into digital format. I have them right here. This is a 1 terabyte drive. I have like 14 terabytes of PDF books. And I have said a million times, by the way, I don't praise empirical knowledge. Hello, excuse me. Episteme, empirical knowledge versus wisdom, i.e. vidya, i.e. gnosis. But I use these as reflectors to understand things. I am far more inspired since I've reached this critical mass point where I can spontaneously solve the answers to, a lot of the really big questions that truth seekers and those who love wisdom come after, because I can see a great deal of the picture of the puzzle, if you will, the jigsaw puzzle. But I'll actually read stuff that, I find completely abhorrent, and because of what's said, they act as reflectors. That's one of the great things. One of the great things, countless things, of course, about wisdom, is that you're able to read stuff that you would totally reject outright because it's just flat out wrong, but because it's so awful, you could use it as a springboard for material to write about or talk about or to make videos about. And it's basically a type of wisdom-based Baudelarization where you can take the really awful stuff, like I've done with quantum and, misunderstandings of metaphysics, and like, wow, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. The way this is understood, a lot of people must understand that this way, so I can actually, define that clearly for people. Once again, all I need is wisdom, a roof over my head, and I'm working on trying to take a few days off. I don't know if I will, but I guess that's because I'm single and I have to do everything around here, but I've been trying actually to get to the cabin for a really long time. I'm only able to go for half a day, which was like a week and a half ago. I'd like to spend a night or two there, but here's an important life message too, and I've noticed this a lot. There's another YouTube channel. I'm not trying to pick on this person at all. And I've talked to this person before, they appear very calm and rational, and there's a lot of things that are like that. They're, very precious on the surface, and, they seem to have clarity of vision, kind of like this beautiful bar of silver bullion here, and you scratch it, and just right underneath is the awful. And there was an occurrence a couple years ago in this extremely, and I'm not pointing this person out, extremely calm and rational person got agitated for whatever reason I won't go into, not about me. But they started, totally getting hostile in various different ways and saying things I would never repeat. And it's like, oh, God, look at this. Here's a person everybody thought was so calm and peaceful. Just the little slightest thing, kind of like, getting sand in your clothing and putting it on and being irritated. Just slightest little thing will set somebody off. This reminds me of a video where these two guys from London, there's a movie, excuse me, and they always wanted a big, it's like a double-edged Viking tool. I'm going to call it a tool, a double-edged, but it was just cheap. It looked so beautiful and shiny and so awesome, and they bought it, and the one time that they used it in the movie, it like instantly fell apart. A lot of people are like that cheap thing made in very poor, cheap piece of junk. I use these words because algorithms are always listening, and so I would wanted to say the SWOR, the last letter there. But in the movie, a lot of people are just like that particular item. They're just like, oh, look at that, it's just so beautiful, or like a person that's so calm. True metal has to be tested. You want to actually, make an implement And it's hammered and forged and stuck back in the fire again, and hammered and forged again, and to get all the impurities out and make it the best it possibly is. I mean, you could take any piece of metal and grind it sharply, and it will be very beautiful and gilded and all this other stuff. But unless it's built well and will withstand the test, I think a lot of people are very ignorant to that. They'll go off of any sort of superficiality and make conclusions about people and things, and I try never to do that, but a lot of people do. Today, of course, a lot of ignorance is masquerading as intellectualism, which of course is unfortunately destroying humanity. And just like what's happening in the world today, everything of course rolls in cycles, and this is absolutely no different. I have to ask you a question too, and I've encountered this. Have you noticed a lot of people have been extremely flaky lately? I've been extremely helpful and give things to certain people locally, and every one of them has betrayed me. I've given things and helped a person out monetarily and other things, and they're just... I was asking your opinion on that one. What have you experienced? Have you noticed a lot of people that you thought that you could depend on? And I really, to be honest with you, I mean, I've never done anybody wrong in my life that I know of. I might have offended somebody, but speaking the truth, but that's another matter. That people have really, really gotten extremely unreliable and flaky, and I just think, a lot of things are coming to a crescendo with them in their lives, both financially and otherwise. So I have to point out something very important of the many things that I've done that I am proud of, like great discoveries and articles and illuminations on things that some of the best so-called masters, I mean, I make things really short and simple, and anybody that thinks, like that gravity article that I wrote yesterday and posted on it's only 4 paragraphs long. There are people that have written hundreds of pages, and they've been praised for making it short and simple. However, they never explained gravity. I did it in 4 paragraphs. I'm very proud of, on top of the discoveries, saying over and over again, as I have in many videos, book recommendations. And it's not about intellectualism. I am firmly against empirical knowledge for knowledge's sake. I never talk about IQ tests. I don't care how intelligent someone is or is not. Wisdom and common sense, as it's conventionally called, is of utmost importance. Not how many facts you could jam in your brain, because you could go on your phone and get the answers to a million different empirical questions that you have. So it's not important to have that anymore, but to have a broad picture to understand nature and natura naturans is incredibly important. But I've pointed out to people things that they should do and for their family, like reading the Pitaphesian or the Enneads and reading it very slowly and thinking about it as you're reading, and not merely reading it, because your brain is switched off to a certain degree. Everybody's is, by merely reading it, but when you read it, you make out as if you were being lectured to by this person that passed away a very, very long time ago. When you think about it, you arrange your mind in a certain way, like arranging a bunch of cards that are scattered loosely on the table, and you're able to think a whole lot more clearly. And this clear thinking has saved an enormous amount of people's lives, but it's also, too, a bottomless toolbox for helping you with absolutely everything in your life. I've, no exaggeration, had countless thousands of people thank me for recommending reading of the Pitaphesian. Not only of themselves, but their, their relatively younger rugrats. Like, wow, I can think so much clearly now. I don't think like I used to. I can think clearly, and I can see through things, and I could determine the abstruse facts behind, hyperbole and other nonsense that other people would blindly accept. And this is what I've done with so-called science and actually uncovering the nature of metaphysics. And it's a bottomless gift that everybody should welcome into their, mind, body, and soul. It just makes life so much better. I hope you didn't think this was any rambling video of any sort, by the way. I want to be an open book in making videos and instructions on certain things that other people don't talk about. I've been telling people on various fronts on asset diversification and getting like low premium silver, for example. These are Turkish nadir bars, like the Ital Preciosi bars on asset diversification. Not that I have any money. I don't have that much silver, but I've just brought out a couple examples of which. Current silver price, these are like $250 a piece. These are 10-ounce Turkish bars, but you know, there's an ancient saying about having all your eggs in one basket, and it's just a good idea not to be there. I don't have much, but what little I have is diversified into land and silver, and also two skills. I mean, that's what I've been doing for the past few hours. My hands are a little cramped up. And here's just an example. I got a bunch more leather work over here, like belts and some micro wallets that I've been making. But you know, these need to be sewn and of course attached. But these are the back parts of wallets that I'm making. So I appreciate skills. I love learning skills. It just makes life fuller. It means you have a broader spectrum of helping yourself and others in life. And just so little of this is ever taught in schools. I mean, just. You know, I'm nearly 51 years. I'll be 51 years old here on September the 5th, which is like, what, 15 days or something. And, you know, I didn't grow up playing video games, and just, there's so many things that people are into now that are just not productive towards helping them have a better life. You know, and I know you're thinking, well, who are you to talk? You know, you're buried behind the computer, you're fat and out of shape, and I admit, of course, that I am. To be a truth seeker is to admit facts, but also to acknowledge your own failings. But there's only so much time and energy one has in life. I'm certainly not rationalizing being that, but I know where I have failed. Obviously I do, but I know where I have succeeded. And I have succeeded quite well on several areas. One of them definitely is not success that I have not succeeded on is like taking a break or working 7 days a week. It's just not right. It is completely abnormal. I don't care what your job is or how hard it is or how easy it is. And I have totally failed at that. To, you know, work yourself to the dirt. Quite literally into the dirt. Literally. You know, 7 days a week. I don't know how other people have a normal life, because it's like the only mystery in life to me. Really, the only mystery in the cosmos is how anybody does it. I think part of it is that they have multiple income household. It's just me, and I have to do everything, period. But, you know, my house is paid for, my car is paid for, and I don't have time to do anything that I'd like. I'd like to find some time to do that. But maybe I picked the wrong time for that happening because, you know, the world is a little bit upside down and backwards, and I think you know that, of course. But I have no delusion about being a teacher or leaving a legacy. But wisdom really is its own reward, and wisdom, of course, is self-proximity. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've totally figured out what magnetism is. I've figured out what gravity is. I've made enormous discoveries in many ancient texts. And I appreciate the books and articles that I've written and given out for free. They're one of the earliest pledges in life, long before I ever started YouTube, anything. Decades ago, I pledged that any discoveries relative to wisdom and understanding I would give out for free. I give out a lot of stuff for free. I only ever regret that when I, you know, just almost pray that I could just take a day or two off and, you know, just go somewhere, and because I love engaging in deep thought. And there's no grand questions that I don't have a grasp on, and that's not bragging at all. I'm very, very appreciative of the fact that I have figured out these things. But the quest for those things, of course, have come at a cost that other people, you know, take for granted. But I still don't regret it, because we only have so much time and energy. You could spend the time and energy here, or you could spend it over here. There's no glory, nor should anybody ever seek glory, in the gratification of truly understanding some slice or spectrum of nature, but it is profound and divine, and It's amazing, and I bask in it all the time, honestly. To myself, it's like, wow, it's so simple. Then I ask myself, wow, I wish I could share this with other people. It's like, yeah, but to share it, since there's no mental telepathy, you have to talk, and then people accuse you of using big words, which I've never, ever intentionally used a big word. I mean, I never have. I hope this video wasn't too verbose or too obtuse, but I wanted to talk about this, and like I said yesterday, I got ill from just exhaustion. I just like burned the candle at both ends rather deeply. But that's something I'm totally guilty of, and I failed by having done that. You know, I got a little bit ill as a result, so I'm going to get back to making these wallets for some people. And if you ever want to contact me or ever make a donation, my information is in the description below. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Thank you.